telling me he's out here hunting.
Yeah? Hunting for what?
I'm very particular about what I kill. I'm gonna death that you recognize me. What is this place?
It's a vacation zone. It's a place where you can do whatever you want.
Who am I?
You're a nobody.
Product abilities have been compromised. Deadly force authorized.
You and your husband have some unfinished business.
It was supposed to be our honeymoon.
Let's find out how dangerous we really can be.
You can't run forever, man! I know every inch of this place!
You got a plan?
Just follow my lead.
What, you think you two are real? You think if you walk through that door, you'll be safe?
How do I get out of here?
You can.
Tell her what I do to her over and over again, huh? I decide who lives and who dies!
Ben?
You're just cattle to people like me! Pass to do whatever I want!
I'm God here.
Intelligence upgrade complete.
I mean, this has been a 5-star review for sure.
Hey, I'm Lorraine Keith, director of Redwood Massacre and the new film Primal Games, out May 6th, I might add. You're listening to Gruesome Herzog.
Hello, everyone. This is Gruesome Herzog. My very special guest is a filmmaker that I interviewed way back in 2011 for the film Attack of the Herbals. By the way, you can catch that movie on YouTube. It is available to watch there if you've not seen it. It's a fun, fantastic film. I interviewed the cast with David. But without further ado, I said his first name, but I'll say the whole name. My very special guest for a second interview, like I said before, it's been 14 years, is David Ryan Keith. David, how are you?
I am great, thanks.
Wonderful. I mean, I touched base with you yesterday or what it was. I said, you know what? Let's get David back on. It's been so long, and we had such a fun time talking about, your first full feature of Attack of the Herbals, and we did a second interview, remember, of promoting it to get released in America. I also had that interview yet too, believe it or not. And I went back and listened to it like 2 weeks ago. I said, damn, I haven't talked to him in so long. Let's get him on here and see what he has to say.
I mean, I was technically young the last time I spoke to you. And now I'm old.
Yeah. I was 42 when we first talked, and now I'm pushing 57. So imagine that.
Gee whiz, time flies.
Mm-hmm. But anyways, I'm glad to have you on here. A bunch of films that you've done in 2014 on up, I've seen except for The Dark Within. But the Redwood Massacre, you made a sequel to it.
Yes.
And I enjoyed both of them. I know it's 11 years later now when this movie was released. I know it's long gone, but let's just talk about it. What was the perception? Hold on a minute. I got a barking dog. What was the perception of Redwood Massacre, when you first made the first one? And why did you make the second one?
Before it came out, it was actually really positive. We got into some really, really big film festivals, and a lot of the reviews were not bad, actually, considering it was a tired slasher formula. And then obviously when it came out, people had their opinions about the movie, but in general, it turned out to be a really small sleeper hit. It made a lot of money. So everyone involved distribution-wise were obviously quite surprised. It got like Redbox, Hulu, it got every major platform, I think, except Netflix. So it was, at the time we were like, we told you.
Well, it's also on Hulu now, right? Is it not?
I'm not sure if it's still on Hulu, but it did really well on there back in 2014, and it stayed on Redbox for like 3 years. So they were like, back in the day, huge deals for indie movies.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I really did, because this is a couple of years after we talked the first time, so we didn't lose touch, but we both had busy lives and we just did our own thing. But I watched it because you commented on the post of saying thank you. Just to give the listeners an idea, you can watch the Redwood Massacre. It is on YouTube. It's Flicks for free. I'm assuming it's a distributor deal or whatever.
Yeah,
But they
it's
can watch
still
there.
still on Tubi, still on Amazon, iTunes, Apple TV. It's amazing it's still kicking about, really.
Well, as of right now, that movie got 1.7 million views.
You know something? It's funny you should say that. We had it up on our YouTube, and we had nearly 4 million views before it got taken down. And this weekend, we got asked to. There's a company that wants to do comics about Redwood Massacre, so we put it up on TikTok at the weekend, and we're up to like nearly 6 million views already.
Nice.
So it's the cat. It's obviously just the character looks cool. It shows there's an interest visually, at least.
Right. And you are Clear Focus Movies. Am I correct?
Yes.
That is your YouTube channel.
That's
And
right.
you also can buy and rent it too. YouTube also has it for sale for rent and to buy if you want to have your own copy. So please purchase your copy to help David out. Probably won't help him out that much, but it'll help him out somewhat.
Yeah, it's heavy. The free versions on YouTube are heavily cut, so you can only watch the unrated versions on like Tubi and Amazon and all that kind of stuff.
Correct. So, yeah. So, I mean, I enjoyed this movie because it had that, again, it had, everyone seems to always go back to Jason, you know?
Yeah.
But you know what? That's good too, because if people hear the word, oh, by the way, it's something like a Jason character, but not a Jason character, it does draw interest in people of watching the film anyway. So who gives a fuck? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. To be honest, it was a shrewd move to try and break into independent film because our first film kind of killed us in a weird way. So we went for horror, slasher, and everyone, even the distributor at the time, said no one's going to watch this, and we kind of proved everyone wrong, and they called it, the small film that can. So, I'm still thankful for that movie because that's what kind of kicked the doors open to getting other movies funded.
I can remember us talking about Attack of the Herbals when we did the interview back in 2011, I think it was. And I've told you that this movie is going to be successful. Maybe not as successful as you want it to be, but at the time, we're talking 14 years ago. It's way different now. There's plenty more platforms now that you can watch your movie. But that movie was great. I mean, for what you had, the budget, and for the, it was a really smooth, cool movie. And I'll say it again. And for anybody to say that no one's going to watch this, it's really weird because they look like idiots now because the way that, I mean, you can watch them on Tubi, off YouTube. I mean, all kinds of formats. I mean, it's a phenomenal movie, and it always will be I love that one the most, only because that's the one that I met you on, talked to you on. I love that all your films. Ghosts of Darkness was different for you as well. I mean, you're doing different varieties. You're going from a borderline zombies being overwhelmed by this tea to having a slasher to now having a ghost movie. You've done all kinds of varieties of genres. And this movie, believe it or not, I was really impressed. I really didn't think that I would enjoy it as much as I did because I'm not really a big thing on ghosts. I never was. But this movie was clever. I mean, I know it came out in 2017. I know that. It's been long gone. But I really enjoyed your work. And you seem to get better every year that you do something. You know what I'm saying?
The more money they give me, I think the better the films get. I'll be honest. Having more money, it just lends itself to putting more things on the screen. Like Attack of the Herbals, if I remember, was about like $1,200. That's how much the whole shoot costs. So it's not true what they say where money doesn't buy you happiness in films. It's the opposite. The more money you've got, the kind of easier it is to try and do the things you want to do.
Okay, no, that's true what you said. But you know what? If you compare the quality of Attack of the Herbals, now mind you, I've been doing this for 15 years. I've seen all types of low budget, no budget, really low budget, and mediocre films. And I'll stick to my word. the quality of Attack of the Herbals, you really cannot tell by the budget.
Oh, yeah, maybe the acting though. But it's weird because I haven't really thought about Attack of the Herbals for years and years. But I think what made that movie kind of fun for us, it's before money got involved. And then as you move to bigger budgets, more people have invested interest, and it really does become harder to shoot the films you want to shoot because you've always got a line of people questioning everything you do. But Attack of the Herbals is so crazy because obviously we were just doing whatever we wanted, for good or bad.
Yeah, well, see, now I understand you being a director, you see things differently than I would because it's your baby, but as a viewer, okay, you know me, I don't criticize any acting, okay? If I don't like a film, I will not review it, correct?
Yes.
So I understood the quality of the money in this movie, and I don't let that interfere with my watching of a film.
Yeah, and you know what, Scott? That's a really, I've spoken about this a lot because there is a group of people like you that can look at independent films and watch them as an independent film, and then obviously you have a mass audience that when they press play and they can see it's low budget, they're like, So it's becoming harder to find people that appreciate, indie films.
Well, that's why this dinosaur is still doing it after 15 years, because I understand the filmmaking aspect of it. I mean, I'm an actor myself, I'm a police actor myself, I'm a producer of film myself. So until somebody actually is in an independent film to where you help with props, I'm actually SAG eligible, believe it or not. But when you are in a movie and you're behind the scenes and you see how it's made, your whole perception is different than reviewing. Now, mind you, my perception was the same before I was in a film than when I'm in a film. So I never changed. Mm-hmm. But for somebody, okay, I'll bring it up. I bring it up in every damn interview. I'm going to bring it up again for a prime example. Terrifier 3. The young generation thinks that movie is so fucking awesome. Mm-hmm. People my age have seen this stuff in the 80s.
It's true.
So I'm not impressed with it as the younger generation are because they never saw anything like this before.
Yeah, I think the Terrifier are almost a throwback to the other movies we've already seen. But you're right, everyone thinks it's this big original idea when
it's
really
not new. I mean, I enjoyed the first one. Second one was okay. The third one was okay, but then that stupid clown, doing Angels in the Blood was over the top stupid. And I'm not on here to criticize. I'm just saying the younger generation never saw us before, so it's all new to them. This is going back to what we're talking about with films that are made in 2011 to films that are made now. It's a 14-year difference, but there's a big difference in the quality and how it's being promoted. Because back then, you didn't have Tubi. You didn't have half the stuff you had back then like you do now. So anybody who makes a film now has more an advantage than the ones that did it in 2009, 10, and 11.
Oh, my God, yeah. An unbelievable, even in terms of cameras, technology, it's so different now.
But your quality, you might not have gotten the press like Terrifier has, but your films are just as much good quality, if, in my opinion, if not better, than the ones that are being made today. Because I'm telling you something, old school will never change. That old school is still in you yet. You want to go with the times and stuff, and like you said, you get more money for your films, but you were there when we all got started with it. You know what I'm saying? So you know what it's like to make a film back in 2011 compared to making a film in 2025.
Yeah, it was 100% harder to make them back in the day. Even if I had more money, it would have still been harder, I think, to make them back in the day.
Because like ITN and all these distributors, my goodness. I love the ITN movies. I mean, most of the movies that they put out are decent. Now, there's one, Cinema Epoch, puts out garbage, so I really have a hard time watching their stuff. I'm just being honest. I mean, they put out anything, and look, again, I'm not a picky reviewer, but I do have morals. You know what I mean?
You know what it was, Scott? It was around about 2011. There was a camera revolution, and then obviously more and more and more and more films started to get made, and it just became so oversaturated to the point where it was actually easier to get a film put out because everyone was just desperate for content.
Right.
In a weird way, had a really negative effect on the independent cinema, and that's ultimately why we kind of had to move away from horror to action movies, because the horror became almost worthless financially. So,
you know what? It's funny you said that because there's a time. I mean, I would say probably like after 2015, I slowed down. I mean, I was busy working, of course, but the majority of movies that are being put out, I mean, it's funny. It goes through phases.
yes.
The one phase was found footage. Okay.
Yeah. It's coming back.
Right. Another phase was zombie films. Okay.
That's right. Yeah.
And then now we're in this phase I love slasher films. I mean, and now we have this clown phase, right? Now the phases that I've seen now are funny. Okay. I love, quote me again, I love UK horror films. That in Australia. My I can watch anything from the UK and I fucking enjoy it. There's a lot of great unknown. I mean, they're on Tubi and all, but they're not well known in America because a lot of Americans will go by the Netflix and go by the whatever.
Yeah.
But there's tons of them in England that I fucking love. Like, for a prime example, Winnie the Pooh and Winnie the Pooh 2. Love them. That's a way better franchise than Terrifier. I'm sorry. It is. Okay. Mm-hmm. We're talking Peter Pan. We're talking the Bambi movie coming out in the UK soon. I love these Mickey Mouse movies. I just love the British style of filmmaking because I'm in America. I see it every day. I'm a big UK fan. Go ahead.
It's funny you should say that because we always argue with our distributor because we want to shoot in the US, and he says exactly what you said, is actually people in the US want to see something different visually, even if it's landscape. So
yes. And I love it. This is one of the things I love the most too, is over in England, there's a filmmaker I told you about, Scott Summers and Louisa Warren and all them. They would use the same house in 3 different movies.
Yeah.
And look, I don't care about that. All I care about is the story, like Jack in the Box and Humpty Dumpty. I mean, there's slew of great films in England. And my job, starting this year, is to promote UK horror. By that saying, I have a new site on Substack that's going to have just strictly interviews from all the actors and actresses, directors and from England and all the British UK horror films on one platform so I can share it to the world. Now, I must tell you something, though. I just started this morning, and it's getting hit like mad because people do not see Dark Within. People do not see Attack of the Herbals. People don't see Redwood Massacre. My job is to put them all in one place. That way they can listen to the interview or they can listen to the reviews and they'll know exactly where to go to find it on YouTube.
Well, that is a good idea. I think people in the US be surprised what was actually made in the UK as well, thinking it maybe was.
And I'm telling you, people are digging it right now because I actually can have it going to Spotify as well, where it actually plays the trailer and then this is my reviews. Spotify will play everything on it. So I have to get your stuff over. I'm in the process. It's going to take me a good while, but it'll all be on one place. I'm not blowing smoke up your ass either because I've been friends with you since 2011. I love your work, and you know that. And I just love the aspect of UK horror, and Australian horror is just as wicked.
Yeah, so, you know something? I do love Australian movies as well, the horror especially. Some of them are really good.
Mm-hmm. like Storm Warning and Wolf Creek and all that stuff.
Mhm.
Now let's talk about Dark Within 2019. I have not seen this, but I will definitely check it out. This is more like a creature feature film.
Yeah, it's probably our only misfire actually in the movies we've done. It's a long, boring story. We'd made Ghost of Darkness, and it done reasonably well financially, and then we had interest for producers in the US, but there was just so many chefs in the kitchen on the script. They were rewriting the script all the way up to the day we were filming, and it just became a mess, if I'm honest. And it's just one of those films that I don't watch. It's like I keep forgetting we made it.
And that's because, and I understand that happens a lot, where every writer thinks they have a better idea, and I get it.
There was like 6 writers at one point, and it just got pulled. My original script, I think there's only like not even 1% of it in the movie, and it wasn't until I edited the film together that everyone realized, oh my God, we've made a terrible mistake. And I was like, yes, we have. Shouldn't have changed the script.
Wow. I will definitely check it out though, because I like creature features as well. Now you also made the Redwood Massacre Annihilation, which I found that movie really impressive, especially the location that you shot it at and the actors that you had in there. And I can remember me talking about this, and I think you commented for the first time in years. I mean, again, it's not your fault. We get busy lives and stuff. And I can remember you telling me about this, saying thank you for watching it. I enjoyed the Redwood Massacre Annihilation. There isn't really, again, I'll go back to it again. There's a lot of sequels in the UK as well that I watched, like all the Jack in the Boxes, and and it can be a hit and miss.
Yeah.
Right? Now I know Jack in the Box 2 the Humpty series kind of went haywire from the first one. I mean, they're all right, but they're not as good as the first one. But yours, if not, was a step up from the first one to the second one. What was the perception like for the Annihilation now?
Oh, well, it was kind of weird. Well, first of all, like the first one made so much money, and because we had self-funded it, we got a lot of the money back. So for the second one, it was flipped. More other people now want to put money in. So the first one was like $30,000. The second one was $250,000. So they put the faith in us. We got Danielle Harris. We got for the first time all cast that we wanted. So it was actually a nice movie to make. And then when it came out, we got all the big film festivals, Fright Fest, and then COVID. And then for whatever reason, the film just kind of disappeared until about 4 months ago. The distributor contacted us and said there's like a huge resurgence in the second one, and now we want to make a third one. So, it took five years for people to find that movie, regardless if Danielle Harris was in it.
And that's a prime example of what COVID has done. COVID destroyed the film.
It was so disappointing because we were going to have the premiere down in London at Fright Fest, and then they moved it online because of COVID. And then, it just, for whatever reason, marketing didn't work, and it just kind of disappeared. So it's cool it's back.
Right.
5 years. I mean, it was hard to get a movie made after that because it really struggled to make its budget back. So to try and get another movie off the ground was hard.
Well, see, I'm going to bring this up. You mentioned it. When you put names in your movies, I mean, a lot of distributors will pick it up faster if there's a name in your movie. But then you have to worry about, like you said, the money distribution isn't equal. So you kind of like, I have a name person in my movie, but
Yeah, it kind of flips because when we made the first one, we funded it. So we claimed 70% of all net profits, basically. And then when someone else invests in it, it flips, and now me and the producers are only getting like 30%. So it's
yeah.
So it's
Right.
one of those things, and most indie filmmakers like me will put like our wages on a back end deal. If the movie makes money, we'll get more money. So it's kind of, and at the time we were like, Danielle Harris, she has a following. You know, what could go wrong, Scott?
Yeah. Well, I mean, as far as a following, it's perfect. But when it comes to, like I said, when it comes to the making the money, kind of like goes the other way around. But
you know what they did? They didn't put Danielle on the cover, and there was a weird thing with Amazon at the time where they wouldn't put any star names on the posters. So it just kind of all went against us.
really,
Yeah, I don't know if they've changed it now, but yeah, everything on Amazon and all that, they're like, no names can be on the poster. You can put them in the little description at the bottom, but
that is weird.
yeah, it kind of hurt me.
So you're gonna make a 3 though, right?
So yeah, so apparently the second one's doing brilliant now, 5 years later. So the distributor, maybe about 4 weeks ago, we asked for a third one, so we've submitted the script, and we're just waiting back to go and make another one. I'm just like, oh my god, a third! But it's one of those things. I was so disappointed with the second one not hitting. It's kind of like a redemption, I guess. It finally made its money back, and we're making a third. So
right. You also got to consider too. COVID had a lot to do with that too. So.
Yeah, it's just typical timing.
Well, you mentioned about making an action film, which I'm going to be watching it tonight. I Am Rage in 2023.
So we made I Am Rage, and the new one's called Primal Games. So it's like two different types of action film.
Nice. Talk about I Am Rage and go on to the next one then.
So the I Am Rage, that it was actually after Redwood Massacre 2. That's when they pretty much said, listen, the horror world, it's too saturated with movies, and they've become worthless. Your only option is to keep making horror movies and lower your budgets, or move to action films, which cost much more money to make, but less people are making them. So you're entering into a different world of financial return kind of thing.
Right.
So that was the risk in the thinking at the time, which kind of paid off, which led to the second action movie, which is coming out in May.
I can't wait. Now, you were also at a festival in Scotland, right?
Yes, they do. They finally started doing horror cons. So we've finally got a big Scottish horror con.
Yep. And you met a buddy of mine, huh?
Yes, Paul. Yes, the Shiver Me Timbers guys. Yeah, it was funny because there's not many people making films in Scotland. I think there was a film called Dick Dynamite. I think you'd really like.
All right.
The Bench. It's like a slasher film. Mercy Falls.
I had that one. I gotta watch it. Yep.
Yeah, and the Shiver Me Timbers. So there wasn't that many, and we were kind of like stuck in with Neil Marshall, who did The Descent and all that. So it was like Hollywood, and the low budget guys.
Yeah. Well, Shiver Me Timbers, I freaking absolutely loved that film. I mean, for the budget he had and how he pulled that off was amazing.
Yeah, there was one bit that made me laugh. There was like this big asteroid coming, and then it just went in this little tiny thing in his pipe. I was like,
if you listen to my interview, I brought that up.
It actually made me laugh out loud because it was so over the top, the build-up. It was like,
and it fucks you in the head though too, don't it? This big asteroid coming down and goes right in his pipe. It was fucking good.
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah. So, you do anything else coming up other than possibly the part 3?
So we've got like 3 movies. It's all up in the air. Like even the Redwood Massacre 3, which is technically a go, we're still waiting. And then we've got another horror film, and then a vampire film. there's just heaps. I just put heaps of stuff out there and see which kind of sticks, if I'm honest. And then I really like I Am Rage is doing well, so it becomes a bit easier for me to set up the next film. And the Primal Games movie's coming out, and if that kind of looks like it's doing well, then I think I'll get the next film going. It's really you're only as good as your last film. So if your last film sucked, you're in big trouble trying to get the next one up.
Right. So now that's Uncorked Entertainment is putting that out for you, I'm assuming?
So yeah, Uncorked Entertainment are doing the Redwood Massacre 3, and I think that's the only one they're doing actually. The other ones, we finally got our first ever UK producer for a movie. So that's like quite a serious, probably my first serious horror movie.
Nice.
And then the vampire one, I think that's going to be independently funded with no, and then we'll sell it on to whoever wants to buy it, I think.
So Primal Games is not available to be reviewed for reviewers?
Yeah, I sent it to you. Oh, no, it should be out, actually. The press release should have went out today everywhere. So the trailers should start filtering through all the magazines over the next couple of days.
Okay. I'll definitely check that out when it's available. I have to watch I Am Rage first, of course. But I do like the action films in England, too. I have watched a couple of them in UK, that I find, they're different.
It's so much harder to make. Yep. Oh my god, it's I get to say it like Redwood Massacre 2, that was 18 days, and then you get 18 days to do an action movie, so it's like twice the amount of filming, but you still get the same amount of days. It's like
I know there's an action film that was, I guess it was shot in England with Lou Ferrigno. Remember The Incredible Hulk?
Instant Death.
Yes, and
he's actually from the same city I'm from. Payaya, I think it is.
Okay. Okay, yeah, because I watched that, and Lou said thanks for reviewing it. I went, wow. Yeah, because I wasn't sure, because that was made by, it was filmed in England, but was it an American company or was it a British company that made that movie?
I think it might have been American money, but the director's Scottish.
Okay, yeah, okay.
And I remember him, he was filming up here for little bits, and then he went to America, and they had like Mickey Rourke and all that for little small sections of the film.
Okay. Yeah, that was a good movie too. I like that one. That's the first action movie I've watched in a long time. But
yeah, I always remember the trailer. He's like, "Who are you?" And he's like, "I'm Instant Death."
It's funny that it was nice to see him do a lead role like that. Yeah, because he always kept himself away because of his speech and all, because of being deaf when he's born or however that was. But it was great to see him in that film.
Yeah, he looks good. He still looks good, actually.
He does for his age. Yes, he does. So, well, I do want to thank you for coming on.
No, it's a pleasure.
I definitely want to check out I Am Rage. I'll be reviewing that soon, and then hopefully get my hands on Primal Games and get that reviewed.
I'll send you I Am Rage, and the other link is for Primal Games. See what you think. I Am Rage has got bits of horror in it, so you might like it, but Primal Games is like sci-fi. So it's something totally different.
I can't wait to see that. So, yeah. Again, it was great to catch up after 14 long years.
I know. But let's not leave it another 15 years, because I'll probably be dead.
I know. I'll be 72. That's up. That is so mad.
I'll be on to Redwood Massacre 15 by then. I'll be like,
That's freaking funny as hell. Oh, God, David. All right. David, thank you very much for coming on. You rock as usual. Take care, brother. Have a good one.
We'll
see you.